This is a Python script that you run. Also, you could say Python file or a Python module that you run in order to start Treebard when you're in development. And I already showed you how to download and get the exe file, which is what you run if you just want to play around with it. But if you want to get involved in improving it, copying it, whatever you want to do with it, then you start from here. Treebard root 041.py. Over here in the exe version, this is arranged differently. It's got all the different same stuff in it, but then it was created with a program called cxfreeze, which put the Python and the tkinter and the icon and everything in it, but in a different arrangement of folders. We've already done that, so here is what I call the import structure. Base is down at the bottom. Anything that's in base.py can be imported to anything in Treebard. On the other hand, everything that's in Treebard root 041.py can't be imported to anything because you can't have circular imports in Python. We'll just get right back into showing the features of Treebard that work and the features of Treebard that don't work. That's what we're talking about right now here in this 2024 tour of Treebard, which used to be called Treebard GPS, but not anymore because I changed the name. Let's go on back to Ronnie, number 6. I happen to know that, so I can type it in like that. Happen to know her ID number. I already showed you how you can change current person. Go and control-click, or putting their ID number in here, or putting their name in here. It auto-fills if they're already in the database. You can do that with any name in the family table. How do you add names to the family table? Well, let's see. We get a father and a mother automatically. You haven't given her a father and a mother yet. The fields are there for you to do it. But what about adoptive father, adoptive mother? Well, it's similar to how I showed you. When you create the event, the field will appear in the families table. So let's create an adoption for Janelle, the current person. And now we have adoptive parents, so we can put any name we want in here. So whenever you add a name, it works the same. If it's an existing person, it autofills. If you don't want that person, you just keep typing. Is it Richard Baxter? Why not? This is a sample database. You can't hurt it. There is a button somewhere to revert it to its original condition. That's going to be down here in the main app. I didn't show you all this stuff yet. If you go to sample, restore the sample tree to its original state. I actually don't know if that works, and I'm not going to click it to find out because I don't want to restore it to original state, whatever that is. You might want to work on that feature to where you're not afraid to use it. What if it's a person that doesn't exist yet? Susanna G. Wright. Susanna G. Wright is supposed to autofill here automatically, and I don't think it does, but it used to. So at the present moment, you would have to retype it, which you shouldn't have to do, but that can be fixed easy. Let's say she's a female, just for the fun of it. No name of that exact spelling exists yet, so nothing appeared here. Let's select 2 images for her. These are all public domain. That could be her, and let's pick another one. That could be her. Let's pick 3. Okay, we're going to insert those 3 images. We're going to link them to Susanna Wright at the same time that we are creating Susanna Wright as a person in this tree. And that's the best way to insert images because at that time you can insert more than one. You insert as many as you want as long as you're all in the same directory. These are all small size pictures, so we don't need to resize them, but you can, and I already showed you how yesterday. And this one is going to be the main image by default because it's the first one on the list, but I can choose a different one. Let's make the child picture be the default picture for this person. It tells you how big your computer screen happens to be in case you want to compare it to how big the picture is. So we can give them a name, caption. Let's make those 3 pictures for Susanna, and we'll change it to Susanna. And there's your main picture. And there's all three pictures. Okay, you want to change the main. I showed you how to do that yesterday. If you want to edit this picture, let's edit this picture. Okay, we've already showed you how to do cropping. Now let's add a border and text. Text is, I don't care. Just the first thing that appeared to me is Munchkin. That appeared in my teeny tiny little brain, so let's just say that. Background color, doesn't matter, we're just playing here. Width, the percentage of the image width. Okay, this is the image width. Let's just say the caption is the words, and it's only one word, so let's say 33%. We want it above or below. Doesn't matter, let's say above. It's going to be green background, so let's have white instead of dark. And we're going to preview the edited image. Looks all right, good enough for government work. Save in current project as. Save, and let's just see if it showed up. Do that by going over here and to see if it's in the current project. That's the original, and that's the one that we copied and changed. All right, now let's link it to Susanna. Showed you this yesterday, I'm showing you again. There it is. All right. Graphics is where you do this copying. So let's make a copy of this, but resize it 50% of the original size. And it's going to be saved as a PNG file. If you want to save it as something else, you probably have a graphics program that you can go and do all this fun stuff any way you want. And it's probably really hard to learn, but this is Treebard's rudimentary graphics programs, which are easy to learn and have a limited functionality. You don't need to do just everything in Treebard because that's what the graphics program is for. New image file name. Now it's 50%. See, it's smaller than it was. Or you can just make a copy at 100%, and it's an exact copy, and just give it a different name. Edit the caption. This is a different caption. This should be blue, and it's not, so let's see if we got an error. Yes. So that needs to be fixed. That's your first assignment for today. We wanted to edit a caption. This is the small one. This is the big one. The caption here is not this caption. I'll show you which caption it is. This is a modal dialogue, so you have to turn it off if you want to do something else. I try not to make too many modal dialogues. I make a modal when I have to, when I really have to prevent confusion and problems. This is the caption that we're going to change now. It's the text caption. It's stored in the database. Okay? This, Munchkin, that word is not stored in the database. It's just drawn on the border of the picture. So that's two different kind of captions we can deal with here in the graphics tab. And we've got another error. So there's something that needs to be fixed here. You just figure out, what combination of buttons did I push or commands did I use to create that error. And then once you know how to reproduce the error, then you know how to figure out what's causing it by tracing it backwards in the code until you find out what caused it. Seems to me like this doesn't happen the first time I clicked it. It opens right. Okay, so let's not mess around too much because we don't need the error right now. We're not going to fix that now. That's your assignment. You're going to fix that. It shows you the path to the original. Now we're going to make a new caption. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's a new caption for this picture. And look, there's a mistake. Since I have two kinds of captions, apparently I have gotten discombobulated at some point in the code and saved this caption as this caption, which is wrong. Possibly that's what's causing that error that we just saw. Treebard as is. It's for you to take and run with. Do what you want. It's a good program. It's a good, solid foundation for somebody else to come along and make it even better. In order to have something on this tab, what you do is you go here. I showed you this, right? You go edit. All right, now you want to clear this tab. That's what that does. This doesn't do anything, this doesn't do anything, this does. Okay, we got event types. They're all listed here in alphabetical order. I didn't want to take up a lot of space, and if you know that A comes before B, I don't know if they're still teaching that in school. So you got your different types in Treebard. Event types, kin types like brother and sister. Media types, that's like image, audio recording, that sort of thing. Name types, birth, aka, pseudonym. Place types, we don't use them in Treebard, but they're in UnitJEDs, which is our database, or back end as they call it. We got place types, county, nation, city. We don't use them in Treebard, but they're there. Unincorporated town, village. You can add types. You can make your own types here, but you just role types. Flower girl, Bible bearer, ring bearer, the officiating minister, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of role types in here already, and you can add your own as much as you want. Source types. I never thought of transcription type until I got to messing around with JEDCOM, so I haven't really done anything with it. I added it to the database, but you can add your own transcription types. Let's look at kin types. Now this is special because aunt, it could be a sister of your father or a sister of your mother. So when you add a kin type, if aunt, sister of father, this is aunt here, this is sister of father. If aunt, sister, or father was not in here yet, but we had only had aunt, sister, or mother, well then you'd put aunt here, sister of father here. This is the more descriptive but less common description of the kin type, and this is just what we call it. Okay, and then there's an example here. So you can add kin types, event types. For events and attributes, we keep them all in the same list. We call them events, but we know that some of them are attributes and some of them are events. Where Treebard is a portable application. The backups trash folder takes the place of Windows Recycle Bin. Okay, Recycle Bin in Windows is for installed applications, and Treebard is not an installed application, it's a portable application. So when you delete a Treebard file, in other words a family tree, I could go like this, but I'm not going to. I don't want to delete my sample tree. When you do that, it doesn't go in the recycle bin. And what if you change your mind? Okay, so I created some code that will put it in this place. This is your like C drive, or I use D drive. I think this is wrong. This needs to be changed. Just look at the code, find out what it is, and change it on this display label. And there is something else here. This is the folder where you're going to look first if you look for pictures. And this is where I keep my pictures. Click it once, not twice. This is how you add an image to the tree. See that it went right to that place. We can add this picture. These are all public domain pictures. And you could give it a caption, and then that will be saved in the tree. We want to add that picture. Richard Baxter is the current person. We want to add it to a male person, so we're going to click the picture and link to the current element. When you add an image this way, you can only add one at a time. So that's why I showed you earlier, while you're making a person, click here. You can add multiple pictures at this time and resize them at the same time. You can also link a picture to a place or a source. So let's try doing that. There's a place. Link to current element. This picture. When you click this, these are the pictures that you've already added. See, Treebard data, sample tree. This is the name of the directory. Inside that directory is images that belong to sample tree only. So yes, that picture is already in sample tree. Let's just use this one instead. Link to the current element, and then we go to the Places tab, and there it is. There it is. Okay. Let's link one to sources. This is just a default picture. It doesn't mean anything. It's just to show this is a picture gallery, a big button that you click. Over in media, we're going to select a picture to link to a source. Why did I call that Bart? I don't know. Link to the current element, which is a source. There you go. The gallery works exactly the same for places, sources, and persons. You can open more than one at a time. They don't get confused with each other. If you want to open more than one at a time, Let's unlink a photo from a current element. You still have to do this. It's just kind of a quirk of the code that probably shouldn't have to do it in this case, but guess you still do. So let's find Bart and unlink it from the current source, which is the bellflower bee. See, if you change the current source to something else, then this won't be here anymore. This is the main picture for the current source. That's the bellflower bee, a newspaper. So we're going to find one called Bart. Unlink from current element. Okay. And it's gone. We got the default picture again. This is the default picture. It shows by default if the current element, the bellflower bee, doesn't have any pictures linked to it. Okay. Now here, this is the main picture. If you look in the code, this is going to be called a main picture, and this is going to be called the default picture. Because see, there is no pictures. We just unlinked all the pictures from bellflower bee. Down here, this is a whole section on the default images, and then you can do the same thing to unlink any given picture from all elements. Say you got a certain picture linked to this guy, this place, and this source. You have to choose one of these. It doesn't matter which. Select the picture, unlink from all elements. Okay. It works. Last time I tested it. And then if you want to completely delete a picture from the tree, don't think it matters what you choose here. We're going to delete Bart from the tree. I don't think it worked because it would have blanked this out. It has something to do with foreign key constraint, which means probably the image is being referred to somewhere in the database and we didn't delete enough foreign keys. You got to delete all the foreign keys before you can delete the primary key, and that's usually what this means. That we tried to delete an image that was being referenced in some table by its primary key being used as a foreign key. Okay, that needs to be fixed. While we're here on the main Treebard app, let's see what else we can do. Oh, we can add a font that's not on the computer. Okay, let's just pretend you go to your Word or your LibreOffice or whatever word processing program you have, or your graphics program, and either place, and maybe other places too, you can find a list of the fonts that are installed on your computer, and whatever one you want, you can just add its name right here. Let's say there's a font called Mickey Mouse. Add that font, okay? Now, if you go over to the fonts dialog, you will now find that that font has been added. I don't know why it's not alphabetical, but it has been added. And it won't cause an error if it doesn't exist, because tkinter has a default font that it uses if you try to use a font that doesn't exist. So no error if you spell it wrong or whatever. We were back here. This is GEDCOM import. I'll show you that some other time. You can import your places from one tree to another. So you want to import your places from sample tree to today 016. That's a different tree. You click OK. That way you don't have to input all your places over and over. In order to show whether or not that works, let's open 016. Now we got a place here in the sample tree called Aspen, Pitkin County, Colorado, USA. Let's say we want to import our places here. Do we have Aspen here? No. AS. It doesn't fill in. It's not there. Let's go over here to the main app. Now I want to put Aspen in all the other places that are in sample tree over in this other tree. So I'm going to go OK. And then I'm going to go over here and see if I can type Aspen, AS. No. Let's close it and reopen it. AS, there you go. And that Allen County that filled in first, that's also from the sample tree. So you have to restart the tree that received the new places if it happened to be open at the time that you did the importing of the places. One of your assignments is to make it possible to copy your sources from one tree to another, and whatever else you can think of that you've created some color schemes or something in one tree and you want to copy them to the other tree. Open the sample tree. It's already open, so that just brings it into focus. Make a fictional person. I showed you this. There's something wrong with this. It's making a birth date and a death date. This is the birth date and this is the death date, and it's just making random dates here so that you don't accidentally use living people or existing people or real people. You just want to make fictional people for a sample tree to play around with. You could change this, obviously. Now 1888 is the birth date. Okay, this needs to be fixed. This should say birth date, this should say death date. It probably used to. I'm suspecting that I added male in here, I added gender in here, and forgot to change the row that these two labels are gridded in. This one is probably gridded on top of the birth date. You fix it, it's easy. Restore the sample tree to its original state. I'm not going to click that. I don't think I ever did. This is the same do list. In any tree, you're going to have the same do list open up. You're going to have one do list for you as a genealogist. And it's the same one. See, perfect GEDCOM, write my memoirs, read Huckleberry Finn again. It says the same stuff here. So you can change it from anywhere and the changes will show up in any tree or in the main app itself, which is this, what you call a notebook. I made this widget. This is a tab book class in Python. I created that class because I didn't like the one that came with tcanter, which is a TTK widget. If you know tcanter, I don't use TTK widgets. There's plenty of ranting about that on my various ranting places. If you want to add something to your do list, feed the dog. This is supposed to be about genealogy, but it's up to you. Okay, low priority is on the left, the big numbers. Number one priority is the high priority. So it's kind of backwards. I put these instructions here in case you get confused about that. So we're going to feed the dog. That's going to be right in the middle somewhere. Add it. So these all must be higher than 5. Let's make a low priority. Feed the cat. Let the cat feed itself. You know what I mean? No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say nothing bad about your kitty cat. I like cats. From a distance, you know. They're all right. Okay. So these all must be high priority. Let's make a very high number one priority, which is feed the squirrels. And we're going to make that like very high priority. Feed the squirrels. So perfect GEDCOM must be my number one priority. One of my little jokes. We don't need to perfect GEDCOM. We need to replace it. Here is where we could import a GEDCOM file. We'll do that later. Here is where you export a GEDCOM file. Select either one of the existing trees. If there's 20 existing trees, you can select whichever one you wanted to export. We can do that some other time. Family tree. You can't make two trees by the same name. Wait a second, because it's got to copy all this data and make a new tree. There's John Smith family tree number 2. Now, if you wanted to delete the tree, it's the current tree, this tree, the one that's open. Okay, we're going to delete that tree. So it's taken out of the recent trees list. Let's see if it's taken out of here. Yep, it was taken out of this list. Okay, so we've pretty much been over this. We'll come back for GEDCOM import and GEDCOM export. We'll come back for that. If you close this, you close everything. This is the main app. This will close all the open trees. When you open a tree, Treebard will minimize this, and it'll be down here. And then if you set up your Windows 11 taskbar right, which I will not attempt to teach to you because it was slightly painful, go from Windows 10 to Windows 11, and it's subject to change on any update. Let's create a new child for Susanna G. Wright, who had a child called Janelle Lorenza Bascom with Richard Basker. We're going to make a new child for the selected person, the selected partner, Susanna. We're going to add a child's name. We could make an existing name. It'll fill in. Or we could make a new name. What if we need a new person for this? Let's just do it this way. Ellen Giglio. Copy. This is an autofill, so you'll find this annoyingly will go to the right after the first character. You just put it back where you want. Ellen Giglio Baxter. That's a new person, so the new person dialogue. You see this, once again, it's not transferring that name we just typed. It should be doing that, but I fixed something recently and it broke something else, and that's how that works. Ellen Giglio. Why did they name her Giglio in the middle? I don't know. Maybe it's her granny's last name. Okay. We could select pictures if we wanted, but I already showed you how. And then if you want to change to that person, you can control click here. That's how you make a child for an existing partner. Add a partner to a current person, pretty much the same thing. You just type a name. Let's get a name for a new partner. This is how you play with the sample tree. It makes it a lot of fun, really. I like seeing what names this tool will come up with. You get some nice, interesting surprises that way. These are all fictitious names, no real people here. Okay, so we're adding a person. This is a partner for Ellen named Corrine Angeline. So you got your Corrine, person number 438, is a partner of Ellen, person number 437. There's your kin tips to say who the parents are on this birth event. Richard and Susanna, the parents. There's three kinds of alternative parents. There's adoption. You can make a fosterage event that will create foster parents, and you can just fill in names here in the usual way. All these person autofills are going to do the same thing. If you put a new name in there, it's going to open up the add person dialog. The other one is guardianship. So if Ellen is a ward of guardians, then you can add guardian fields up here by creating a guardianship event down here. And I showed you yesterday how you can add another partner here by creating, let's say, marriage license. We have one partner, or we can create a new partner. Let's create a new partner with an unknown name. Partner 439, person ID 439 appears here, is referenced here. If you point at it with that kin tip, you can also add dates here. She, Janelle, died in 1901. So let's say she was born in 1842. And on the 13th of June, you type the minimum number of characters, see? If I type JA, that's enough. That's for January. JU is not enough. We got to type an L or an N. Okay, you just type enough, or you can put the whole thing if you want. It's up to you. You can type estimated, you can type calculated, you can type, about, or circa means the same thing as about. Okay, but the display option has displayed it properly according to our preferences, which are set over here in the dates. We'll get to that. That's how you put it in a birth date or a death date for a child. If you change Janelle to the current person, oh, that was an adoption, not a birth. Okay, there is that adoption date, and there is that death date that is in this table for Richard, or for his wife. And there's one more thing you can do here. You can link a selected partner to an event. This is for partner events, such as marriage and divorce. I don't think offspring works there. So we'll create first kiss. I don't think it's in the list. I could put it in the list. I'll show you how. That's not in the list because it didn't autofill. So let's add it because we want to use it. Okay, this is set to event types. All the event types are listed. We go in the F, filing for divorce, first communion, first language. No, it's not there. These are events and attributes. They display together. First kiss, we're going to add that as an event. It is a couple of event. It is not a marital event. It is not an after-death event, hopefully. That might be an error. That needs to be fixed. It worked last time I tested it. Here in 2-day 016, this marriage is already linked to Mattie Lou Draper. Nice big events table. Let's make one more event for Russell and Anita. Let's make a divorce. And which partner of Russell's are we talking about? We're talking about Anita, person number 2. It redraws. Your divorce is not interfiled by date because it doesn't have a date. It's down with the attributes, the ABCs. B, D, H. You see that's alphabetical. There is the divorce and there is the partner. This divorce is linked to Anita. But I changed my mind. I want to link this divorce to Mattie. So we're going to select a partner, as it suggests here. Then we're going to click here. And that is going to highlight all the couple events down here in the events table. Then we're going to click the right event that we want to link to Mattie. And then we're going to click OK. See, it told us what we're planning to do. We're linking the selected event, which is this, the selected partner, which is Mattie, to the event number 65. You notice that the mouse wheel works over the correct part of the app when it works. It usually works on most things. And we're going to click OK. Redraws. Now the divorce is linked to Mattie. Well, that kind of takes care of the families table. Now over here in the events table, I've got some stuff to show you, and I'm going to show you that in the next movie. I promised to show you that, and I'm going to show you that. It's my favorite part. I've worked on this over and over. I've rewritten this feature many times. The events table, also known as the conclusions table, because these are your conclusions, and these are your assertions. In other words, what does the source say? This is where you can add sources, citations, as well as assertions. That's what the source says. You can also add sources like this. Go in here and add a source here. I'll show you that later. All right, so I'll see you in the next movie. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you soon. Bye.